Coming up next on Bear News.
Mysterious pillars on Central Campus. What are they? I'll reveal the mystery later on in the show.
We're up in this very spot. In sports, the UNC women made their second consecutive postseason. I'll have full highlights later in sports.
And in weather, I've got a forecast for the next 90 days.
We've got all that and more on this episode of Bear News. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us here on Bear News. I'm Megan Pressler.
And I'm Jamie Arterburn. With all the classes, friends, and extracurricular activities, you're bound to have a few grades you'd like to brush under the carpet. Well, if you're looking to replace grades, you will need to be aware of a few changes recently made by the Academic Policies Committee. First, students need to fill out a grade replacement application, which can be found online. Second, the application needs to be submitted when you are registered for the class, but cannot be submitted later than the drop deadline. And one more change is the policy there can only be one grade replaced per course, up to 6 courses. These changes take effect in the fall of 2013. Next week, Bear News will talk to Shelby Williams, Director of Academic Affairs and for the Student Senate, regarding the new policy.
Most students spend their spring break on the beach, but some use their time to volunteer. There were 4 locations with different social issues that students got to choose from in the Alternative Spring Break program. On the Arizona trip, students volunteered to help with immigration and migrant workers issues. On the Crow Reservation in Montana, they helped with Native American issues. In Los Angeles, California, they volunteered at women's shelters dealing with homelessness and domestic violence. Finally, in Washington, D.C., they worked to help fight hunger and homelessness. This is put on by ASB every year. Interested students can go to www.unco.edu/studentactivities/ASB for more information.
Have you seen all the snow that's been piling up in the parking lots? Snow has been piling up into snow mountains in the parking lots at UNC. These mountains have been taking up spaces and are becoming a nuisance for students. There's a lot of traffic through these lots, and students and faculty have had to park further than normal. Parking Services has been giving out tickets to anybody who parks on these snow mountains. Although it might look like an empty space, just avoid it and find another spot.
Because, we don't have anywhere else to park, and no one wants to walk like a mile just to get to one of their classes. I actually I actually got a ticket, and it sucks really bad. And
the accumulation of snow is driving this student and others up the wall. The snow mountains are found throughout parking lots and in some inconvenient spots. Hopefully the sun pops out so it can melt the snow. I don't think the students would complain. They say April showers bring May flowers, but will we get any rain? Bear News meteorologist Paul Ford has your first look at weather. Paul?
There actually is a chance for rain, and I think we will need it. I'll get to that in a second. Right now, it's about 68 degrees right now, at about 42% humidity. Winds are a little gusty out there at about 9 miles per hour. Now, when I was talking about the 90-day forecast at the beginning of the show, you guys probably thought I was a little crazy. Well, I am, but that's not the point here. The National Weather Service released a spring outlook to look at the next 3 months. And when it comes to temperatures around Colorado, this dark red area means we're going to see above average temperatures all for the next 3 months up until June here, which is good for us. But the bad thing is, for when it comes to rain, we're actually going to get below average rain, and we're suffering a bit of a drought as seen by this graphic right here. We're under a persistent drought right now, so any rain is needed. But luckily for us, we've got actually a chance for rain this coming weekend and next week. But I'll let you know that and next week's forecast in a little bit. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Paul. Just outside of Carter Hall, you may have noticed a couple of pillars and a gate seemingly to lead nowhere. Reporter Anthony Seacrest did a little investigating into the origins of these mysterious pillars and found out they have plenty of historical significance.
Even walked right by it. But the truth is, not many of us know much about it.
The Horace Mann Gate once stood as the entrance to UNC long before many of us were even born. Presented by the class of 1910, it symbolized the switch from a state normal school to a Colorado State Teachers College of Education in Greeley.
Where you see this grass field, now dubbed Cranford Park, once stood Cranford Hall, the very first building at UNC. It's no longer here, though, because it burned down and was demolished back in 1972. Only the original cornerstone remains just outside of Carter Hall. In fact, UNC has changed a lot over the years. Believe it or not, Carter Hall used to be the library here at UNC from 1907 to 1944. And West Campus didn't even come about until 1962 when they built Bishop Lair as the home of the laboratory school. And as for the pillars, well, they'll be here for years to come and encourage students to keep rowing towards a goal instead of just drifting about without purpose. Reporting from UNC, I'm Anthony Seacrest, Bear News.
Thanks, Anthony. Coming up after the break, we'll have the best apps to use to survive the rest of the school year.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I joined Bear News because it's the best all-around broadcast experience you can get before working in the real world.
As a multi-part series, Bear News will be keeping you informed about the fracking here in northeastern Colorado. Reporter Brianna Tyndall will tell us more.
It would appear as though the Montfort College of Business isn't the only entity at the University of Northern Colorado that's teaching students about real-world business plans. President Kay Norton and the university's Board of Trustees are also teaching students a thing or two. Norton signed a contract with Mineral Resources Incorporated in the fall of 2011 to lease campus property for hydraulic fracturing. The deal brought in just over $123,000 to the university, and it projected that the royalties from the deal could be in the seven figures. So, nearly 2 years later, what do students know about the university's new fracking deal? Turns out, not much at all.
I was not aware of that. I'm aware that there are many fracking sites just within 2 to 5 miles outside of Greeley that are doing it. But with doing it with UNC, that's just unrealistic, I think.
Not so unrealistic, Caleb. In fact, fracking is scheduled to start taking place under university property within the next 18 months. With fracking literally happening so close to home for many UNC students, you have to wonder, what do students really know about the fracking process?
Absolutely nothing. I've heard whispers.
So are you familiar with fracking? Fracking? No, I'm not. As it relates to like natural gas? Oh, no.
Despite the confusion, students are eager to know how UNC will allocate the funds.
The university could benefit from it with putting that money towards educational funds, but is it worth it?
Though many students are feeling left in the dark about the university's decision to move forth with fracking, and they're finding themselves completely unknowledgeable about the fracking process, at this point, the university has not done much to educate students or put their minds at ease. Reporting from the University of Northern Colorado, I'm Brianna Tyndall, Bear News.
Thanks, Brianna. We look forward to learning more about fracking as the information develops. Ever wonder what traditions and myths UNC has? Bear News producer Colleen Allison dug into the history books.
Every day, about 12,000 students walk across the University of Northern Colorado's campus. But what many don't know is that the very ground they are walking on holds lots of traditions. Orientation leader Quentin Myers tells us more.
Because there's a lot of really cool random things. Our archives have a book that's basically dedicated to myths and traditions, and it's pretty awesome to look at.
UNC tradition is for nursing students to walk around the circle of the old floor of Gunter Gym 3 times in order to get a passing grade on tests. So that means Central Campus is covered grade-wise, but not to worry, West Campus wasn't left out. Legend has it that if you rub the head of Dr. Ross's bust in Ross Hall, you will pass all of your midterms. There's also some romantic traditions on campus. Myers shares his favorite one with us.
If you take your sweetheart to the Cranford Cornerstone at midnight and you kiss them, it's said that you're going to find true love. The reason it's my favorite is because there's no guarantee that it's going to be that person. So.
Reporting from the University of Northern Colorado, this is Colleen Allison, Bear News.
Thank you, Colleen. Most of us use social media every day, but have you ever thought about using it professionally? This week, the Student Public Relations Network brought in 3 UNC alumni speakers that are now using social media in the professional world. Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram are some of the biggest tools that these professionals discussed. UNC students were invited to come listen in, have some pizza, and see social media at its finest. From advertising hospitals to selling sunflower seeds, social media has become a must for most businesses. SPRN is open to any student and invites anyone to attend.
If you're looking for a convenient way to stay organized for school, Bear News reporter Paul Ford has a look for some apps for your smartphone that may help you out.
Go to black. No, that's not what I meant. Go to commercial. What are we doing now?
We apologize for the technical difficulties, but if you do need a break from studying this weekend, Bear News reporter...
We're going to Kristen.
All right. For those of you who love the old-time classic, The Wizard of Oz, this prequel will fill you in on how the Wizard of the Enchanted Emerald City came about. American actor James Franco plays the trickster, magician, and ladies' man in the magical tale. After being whipped and whirled around in a Kansas tornado, similar to that of Dorothy, he finds himself in the magical land of Oz. He is immediately held to the title of being the wizard this land has been waiting for.
And the prophecy shall be fulfilled. You're in Oz. I'm Theodora the Good Witch. Where's save us all? Is my sister, Evanora. I'm his the only thing strong enough. The royal treasure of Oz. It belongs to you. I've waited.
You'll die! You'll die! Did those discover that Oz has them both under his charms, he encounters Glinda, played by Michelle Williams. Oz sets off on his adventure to destroy the Wicked Witch with 2 interesting characters by his side, a flying monkey and a small China girl. The final scene to determine whether Oz rules the land or the Wicked Witch remains is breathtaking and filled with magical twists and turns that you just can't miss. I highly recommend going to see this film. We also learned today of the passing of Roger Ebert. We here at Bear News would like to send our condolences to his friends and family. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kristen. If you need a break from studying this weekend, Bear News reporter Paul Ford has a good look at some apps that you can check out.
Around one of these $10 to $20 planners. Well, we're here to tell you to throw your planner away and just whip out your smartphone because there are apps out there for you. I'm going to go over a couple options. Our first app is called iStudies Pro. It's valued at $2.99 and is exclusive for the iPhone. After importing all of your semester's information, you'll open up the app to this nice little Today view that's showing your entire class schedule and even other calendar events you might have scheduled for that day. For each class, you can add assignments and tests to each day, which is great to keep my head straight with all the things I have going on. There is even a nice calendar view just to give me a look at the month ahead. This app is aesthetically pleasing to the eyes and even has a companion app for the Mac for seamless syncing if you're not a fan of typing on the iPhone's little screen. This app gets one of my highest recommendations. Now, if you're looking for something a little cheaper, an app called My Homework may be for you. It's free for the iPhone and Android platforms, but with that price can come some rather intrusive ads. The app can do everything that the iStudies Pro can, it just takes a little more work. To get there, the interface is a little clunkier and the ads can sometimes get in the way. But if you're looking for a cheaper alternative or something for the Android, this may be your best bet. No matter what application you choose, it's such a convenience to have all of that information in your pocket. Reporting for all the apps you need to know, I'm Paul Ford, Bear News.
Let's take a look at our weekly Pinterest photo. This week's photo is for anyone who wants to try spicing up a chocolate cake. Try mixing Dr. Pepper into the cake batter before popping it into the oven. I would have never thought to put Dr. Pepper in that.
Me either. We'll have to try it out, see how it goes. Well, Paul, it's beautiful out today. Can you tell me what's going to happen this weekend?
Well, it's still going to be a little bit pretty beautiful this weekend, but we're going to see a nice little change coming up on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to dip back into the 40s, but I'll let you guys know all of that after the break.
I joined Bear News for the hands-on experience, and so I could benefit from it in the future.
Welcome back to Bear News. I'm meteorologist Paul Ford. Looking out here on West Campus right now, we see some beautiful blue skies out there. Only a couple clouds out there, so it's a beautiful day outside today. Not as much so for the people in the southeast in the Carolinas. We've got some thunderstorms happening over there. But here in Colorado, we've got some high pressure systems that are making it those near 70-degree temperatures. Radar outside of Colorado right now. We've got clear skies around here. Around Gunnison and Alamosa, though, we've got a couple clouds out there, making it not as nice of a day. It's cooling down the temperatures down there a little bit. But here in Colorado, we've got some 60s down the Front Range right now, 63 in Denver, 63 in Colorado Springs, and 64 in Lyman. If you're in the mountains right now, we're looking at some mid-50s in Aspen and Gunnison. High for today was around 68 degrees. About 10 degrees above average. If you're looking at the low this morning, was actually a nice little 40 degrees. So it's been a nice day overall, quite a bit above our average. Lows for tonight, we're seeing some 40s and 30s around the metro area, 42 in Denver. If you head up here in Greeley, we're going to see about 35 degrees. Temperatures for tonight, we're looking at about 66 degrees, very mild tonight at 7 o'clock tonight. We're going to see the clouds starting to roll in, and then around midnight, we're going to drop down to 51 degrees, and then for when you wake up tomorrow morning, it will be about 42 degrees. Tomorrow, it's going to be even warmer at about 73 degrees. However, it's going to be quite windy at winds around 13 to 18 miles per hour coming from the west, gusting up to about 25 miles per hour. This weekend's forecast, we're going to see a rainstorm coming in later on Saturday with our temperatures dropping down to 64 degrees. Those storms will move out on Sunday as we are at 65 degrees. This next week's forecast, we're going to see a consistent rainstorm from Monday through Wednesday. If it's getting colder at night, we see a chance of snowstorms, but it won't be too much in the terms of accumulation just because of how warm it's been. And then we're going to warm up again on Thursday into Friday at around 60 degrees, hitting the upper 60s and potentially back into the 70s this next weekend. Now we're off to a freshly new 21-year-old Rachel Turnock.
Thanks, Paul. Coming up, I'll have women's basketball and baseball highlights from a busy weekend and spring break, plus a one-on-one with UNC's strength and conditioning coach. Stick around, we'll be right back after this.
I joined Bear News because I wanted to be a journalist since I was little.
Welcome back to Bear News. Over spring break, the women's basketball team headed to Laramie, Wyoming to take on the University of Wyoming in the first round of the NIT tournament. How did they do? Well, let's take a look. The first half was all about the Bears' leading scorer, DeShera Strange. Look at Strange fight for position in the lane and lay it in. 2 possessions later, Strange again posts up, spins away, and finishes in the paint. Bears up early. Now check out this play. With the shot clock winding down, Lindsey Mallon knocks down the corner jumper. She had 15 points this game. The second half was all about senior forward Lauren Osdike. Great ball movement here for the Bears, and Osdike lays it in. 2 possessions later, DeShera Strange gets past the double team and swings it to Osdike for the wide open 3. Despite a second half rally from Wyoming, the Bears would win this one 71-63. After the game, we tracked down senior forward Lauren Osdike and guard Lindsey Mallon. Here's what they had to say.
More than anything, it was a great team effort. Everyone came ready to play. Everyone knocked down every open shot they had. I mean, not everyone, but I thought everyone really came out ready to play.
I just think we wanted it more. We didn't let the crowd get to us, and our defense will win games, and we played great defense, and that will keep us ahead if we keep our defense up.
How big of a factor?
Just 3 days later, the Bears would return home to face St. Mary's in the second round of the women's NIT tournament. Coming into the contest, the Bears were 12-1 at Butler Hancock. Again, the Bears started the game on a roll. 3 minutes in here. Here's Lauren Osdike laying it off. The nice dish. How about Osdike one more time? Here she knocks down the triple. Crowd loves that one. Here's Stephanie Lee, gets the pass, and how about the center hitting the three? DeShera Strange in the lane, I like the sound of that, but the second half would belong to St. Mary's. Here's Jackie Nared, gets the board and lays it in, plus the foul. The Bears just missed too many opportunities down the stretch. St. Mary's pulls out the victory, 68-58. It had to be a tough finish for senior Lauren Osdike. This would be her last game in UNC Blue and Gold. After the game, we spoke to Lauren and head coach Jamie White.
In front of their people, not letting them get to the basket. It seems like we just got some hand check calls, and we got some different calls that, you know, that we weren't, I just don't think we were really sharp tonight as far as defending the ball.
God, it's been the best 5 years of my life, and I'm not gonna get emotional. But it's seriously been great. I've had the best teammates, the best coaches, the best support staff. I wouldn't be anywhere today without them. And I would have never changed my decision coming to UNC. I've had seriously the best time ever, and really met very genuine people, very nice, always going out of their way to do something for you. And I've just really, really enjoyed my time here at UNC, and it's been the best 4 or 5 years of my life, and I don't want to go into the real world now. It's been too much fun. And
The UNC baseball team played South Dakota State this weekend. The Bears came into the series hoping to continue their 3-game winning streak. Josh Tennant got the start Saturday and settled in after an early home run. Tennant struck out 8 in 6 innings. Daniel Telford hit 4 for 5 from the plate and helped give the Jackrabbits a 4-1 lead with his single to the left. The Bears responded quickly with an unusual rally, which featured a stolen base, a wild pitch, and an error that gave up a run. Joe Love had 1 hit in the game and made it count with his towering home run. The game was tied up until the 7th until Dylan Bannock hit a liner to left, giving the Bears an 8-7 lead. In the 9th, the Bears pitching and fielding let the game go. Kevin Willman walked to batter home, and Rob Cashel erred to give the Jackrabbits an 11-8 victory. Egg hunts, family, and eating ham. That's how most people spend their Easter, but not for the UNC baseball team. The Bears played against the Easter Bunnies. Wait, no. They played against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. The final game of a 3-game series took place on Sunday at Jackson Field. The Bears were looking for their first win of the series against the Jacks. Dylan Bannock, with 4 runs and 3 hits this game, started things off well for the Bears. He hits this ball hard to left field to get a double. First run after that came from a hit by Ryan Yamani to bring in Bannock. Moving on down to the 7th inning, things got hot for the Bears. Sophomore Jensen Park, who had 2 runs and 2 hits, stepped up to the plate, only to be intentionally walked. But little did the Jacks know that would cost them when junior Nick Miller takes the plate and nails the ball, bringing in Bannock and Park. Bears up 10-9. UNC kept the lead until the top of the 9th. The bases were loaded when pitcher Kevin Willman walked Daniel Mara, tying the game 12-12. Bottom of the 9th, sophomore Brian Tibbetts stepped up to the plate with 2 runners on base. Tibbetts drives the ball down the first baseline to bring in Yamani. It was a close game, but the Bears fought hard to win it 13-12. After the game, we caught up with head coach Iwasaki to talk about the ending performance that Tibbetts had.
Tibbetts is a catcher that's been in the bullpen. He wasn't sitting. He's a worker. He's a team player. He's in the bullpen getting every pitcher ready to go. He knew 5 innings ago. I just looked at him and said, bat ready? Yes, he knows.
Winning comes from within, and this is how the Bear athletes are challenged to reach new heights every day. Reporter Raymond Januk-Tonier met with strength and conditioning mastermind Dink Williams to talk UNC football and mental toughness.
What's up, Coach? Really nice to see you. It's always nice to see you.
It's always nice.
What brought you into this business?
Once I got to college, I met Joe Jurassic, and Joe Jurassic turned my whole world around. He showed me a side of strength and conditioning that I just couldn't get away from. And once I got bit by that strength and conditioning bug, you know, the only way for me to cure that was to be a part of it.
What's your philosophy?
Anybody can physically get strong. It's the mental approach to the game that makes it unique for me. If I can get inside your head and get you to thinking mentally, nothing can defeat me. Once I get you thinking like that, the physical aspect of it just fall in line.
If you got something to say for the UNC fan base,
we will attack each day with enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Ray.
What a great pickup for UNC Athletics. Dink is the real deal.
Salut tout le monde, comment ça va? My name is Raymond Januk-Tonier. I'm the French guy from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Listen, I just joined Bear News to have fun, meet great people, and perfect my craft in the pursuit of my dreams. So I thank you all for your support. You guys are great. Je vous aime beaucoup. Merci.
The first day in April brings many laughs and embarrassing moments to the UNC campus. Bear News anchor Jamie Arterburn has the latest on the pranksters.
Good prank is where you put clear tape across the doorway and then you don't tell the person about it, of course. And then they come down and they go through the doorway and they run right into it.
The best one I've heard so far came from the internet today, which said that you should take a pack of macaroni cheese, like from the blue box, and pour it into a jug of water and make it and stir it up and make it look like orange juice and just leave it in the fridge for unsuspecting roommates or family or whatever to drink.
So I sent out a text jokingly saying that the Japanese were attacking. I got a historical tirade about how that was not actually possible.
So we decided to put a little bit of chewing tobacco on his hamburger and put some Visine on it, so he puked and he got diarrhea.
But there's a police officer that worked in our high school, and he had cuffs on him, and he always had his police car. On April Fool's, I ran up to him and I was like, okay, you had to do this. I need to prank my mom. And he was like, what is it? And he knocks on my mom's door and he's like, Miss Collier? And she's like, yeah. He's like, we arrested your daughter today on charges of drug paraphernalia. Halfway through my crying, I look up and I go, Mom. And she's like, what? April Fools.
Well, looks like UNC had plenty of laughs. I'm Jamie Arterburn, reporting from campus, Bear News.
Some people come up with crazy and creative ideas for this holiday.
Yeah, I actually looked out my door and my neighbor's yard got forked.
Wow. Or changing your status on Facebook from married to single or vice versa.
And then they didn't know about it? That's rough. Oh boy.
Thanks for joining us this evening. We'll see you next week.
Until then, we'll see you on our Facebook page, Bear News 98. Be sure to like us.
Have a great evening.